This is a part two, just kind of updating some of the things regarding this Harley Benton Bass 6 string Harley Benton bass guitar, which is like a Fender Bass 6. And again, this is focused on playing it as a bass player like a bass, because I really don't think that's the way it was designed. I think it was designed as an instrument, a bass instrument for guitar players. Let me adjust this over just a hair. All right, that's better. Anyway, to update, I wanted to show, first of all, how I'm wrapping the strings. And I'm going to tell you what the strings are, because I've lowered the tension on some and raised the tension on others to make it much more kind of uniform feeling. It's a much easier to play and sounds great still, and the tension is much nicer all the way across. But the strings are 22 wound, 30 wound, 40 wound, 55 wound, 80 wound, and a 120. Again, 22, 30, 40, 55, 80, 120. Now, that's, those big jumps and the way that it's laid out, as bass players, you tend to kind of want to run away from that because it's not conventional, but it does make the instrument play very uniformly all the way across. I wanted to show how I do the strings. On the smaller strings, you can just thread bass strings like you normally do and then tie them off on your tuners in a normal way. But on the heavier ones, because you can't get, an 80 through, there's several reasons. It won't go through the tuning machine primarily. So it wouldn't work to thread it on this end and then go up and tie it on the other end on the tuner. So what I do is I tie the A and the E strings onto the tuner so that the proper size of wrap goes across the nut. And you have to thread it in here first, of course, but then you pull it back and tie it on. And then you'll have, some string hanging out at the end. What I do is I crimp the string with a pair of pliers, crimp it really hard. And what that does is smashes the winds, which will help the string not unwrap or spool out, break what we used to call breaking the bead on the string, ruining the string. It has no tone after that happens. But if you crimp it, and then with a small pair of pliers, create a bend like a V, you can see that I've created a bend. And then with that bend, I put on the ball from the string part that I just cut off, peel the ball out, slide it back on the string, and then I use a cable tie to wrap around the part of the string up here, kind of pinching the ball back into a place where it won't slip out or where it won't move. Then when you crank the tension on the strings, it just cinches right up to the tailpiece, works great. Again, that's for putting long scale strings on a short scale instrument. Yeah, I think that's about it. The more I've played, the more I've messed around with it, the more I feel really comfortable, especially after changing the strings out. It feels very comfortable. It's very tight still, but it. So yeah, anyway, I play regular 6-string bass with, you know, the bass spacing is kind of more like I built it myself, but it's kind of got Ken Smith parts in it. And it's a great bass. I love it. I've had it for decades. But this is really a nice, inexpensive, different kind of 6-string that really works for a bass player if you just put it in the time. There it is.